Hi, on this episode, it is a movie review of Star Wars The Force Awakens, Star Wars Episode 7. And, what can I say? I guess the first thing about the movie, it's kind of a bummer because at the end of the third Star Wars movie, they saved the universe. And then this one happens and you realize that, Han Solo ran out on his wife with Chewie, and then because of the kid, and they split up, and then Princess Leia's in charge of the galaxy, and Luke Skywalker just ran away. He was embarrassed or something, and it's that's a shitty ending. Let Star Wars have ended, but now they have the new one, and they have this gee, shucks, I'm stuck on a desert island thing. And girl character, I have a problem with the acting of anybody. The other thing, I've seen this movie 3 times, and the first time I saw it in the theater, I thought, man, I didn't get that there was a love story between Rey and Finn. And the other thing was, and I know it doesn't matter, it's supposed to be about, human spirit, and it's dumb for me to look at a children's film and say this, but I was like, how the hell could you have a guy that was taken as a kid and trained? I mean, we have in real life those African boy soldiers, and it's horrible, man. They're bayoneting people's throats and stuff like that. And there's the Hitler Youths, and there's all this horrible shit that really happened. And then these guys are in outer space, and they can't. This guy, he's Finn. There's none of those stormtrooper guys would have personalities. Finn has a personality. He's I'm young, and it's the same as Rey. They're both the same character. One's a female, one's a male, and they're both I'm excited about life, and isn't this great? We're getting to see the universe. Two kids, Mickey Rooney and somebody else, going out to see the world, right? And that's what these 2 kids are, going out into space and hanging out with Han Solo. And then, everybody said to redo, we're just doing all the Star Wars movies over again, and we're introducing new stuff. And then we even have the Boba Fett, and with the Silver Sentinel, no, the Captain Phasma, where you have this silver robot thing that's like Boba Fett, and then it just gets punked, and then it's wait a minute, isn't it special armor? And they just pull a gun on you? Don't you think you'd be, no, I have this special armor or something, I don't know, whatever. And then it's that's it, the character's in it just to get a gun pulled on him and doesn't even try to fight. And it's the leader of the whole ship. Wouldn't somebody like that be willing to just die? To no way, I'll never do that. You're gonna blow up our whole thing. They would die. And instead, she's just oh, shit, you got me. And then he's let's throw it in the garbage. And everybody's laughing. And I'm I don't buy it. And I don't know. What else? The holding the lightsaber against the cliff forever with her eyes closed. Wouldn't she die from that? I know, it's supposed to be dramatic, and it's supposed to be extra long like Mr. Rogers so that the kids can know she's concentrating and really concentrating to use the Force or whatever the lesson is. I don't know. And then Han Solo gets killed. It's funny to me to think, I know this isn't true, because the guy, I know that Harrison Ford doesn't wear a diaper, but I just think it would be funny that Han Solo would be in his 70s in outer space, and he's wearing a diaper or something, or he has that weird smell like somebody's grandpa in space, his ship smells like mothballs or something. I don't know. It's whatever. I liked the 2 things I did old Princess Leia and old Chewie. I like the idea that after all this time, she's still holding all this shit together and everything's still blowing up, and her freaking husband leaves her, and her kid's a maniac. That's the freaking reason, or whatever. The head of the whole evil empire, part 3 or whatever. So, but the thing was, even though all that, I didn't get the romance thing between Finn and Rey, like I said before. And then, I said, I saw it 3 times, and I'm they really leave it ambiguous but I don't. And then they have the R2D2 the BB-88. Yeah, R2D2. He cute too. R2 BB-88. And it's like, oh, neat, it's another R2D2, and then they bring R2D2 back. I don't know. And then there's the other guy, Poe Dameron. And that's the guy I'm like, who cares? I don't know what he's about. Maybe he's going to do more later. And then just Finn, like all Poe Dameron is Finn going, oh, wow, look how, isn't he great? You're supposed to think he's great. Look at him. Wow, look at that guy. Who gives a shit? I don't care. I mean, nothing against the actor. I'm just saying that it's the same thing as the Captain Phasma. Like, they just, like, don't matter. And then, I don't understand why. I mean, I understand why, because they didn't have money to do it. But wouldn't there be, like, weird squid stormtroopers? But no, there's, like, only human army. So is that what their army's about? Is that what this... What is it? No, the New Order. Is that what the New Order does? They're, like, neo-Nazis, but they're all humans. And underneath those helmets, and like, we're just gonna kill like every like weird looking giant headed fish man or whatever, or a guy that has like weird elephant legs for some elephant hands or something, and then a lady that's playing her neck like a flute, and then a green sexy thing with a unicorn horn coming out of her head and feathers. And, okay, so I went on too long. But anyway, what else? I like Kylo Ren. It was neat that the bad guy's like throwing temper tantrums, and he wants to be like this idea of what his grandpa is, and he talks in a funny voice when he has his hat on, and he takes it off, and it's just this giant goofy looking dude. And it's like, and the girl's like, what am I don't know if she was supposed to think he was handsome or what, but I thought she was like, oh, it's just a kid. Like, I thought that's what she was thinking, not like, oh, he's handsome. But people said that. She was like, oh, he's noticing he's handsome. I'm like, geez, if that guy's, whatever. I don't care. I thought he was supposed to be the bad guy. So I thought it was funny. And he looked like Marilyn Manson, and he behaved like Marilyn Manson, and he had a temper tantrum, and he trashed his room, and all that stuff. And then there was the new Emperor guy. What was his name? I don't know. The guy that appears as the giant hologram. I'm not even going to try his name. I forget. But anyway, I would like to find out that that's some kind of character or some old dude that they talked about or seen before. I don't even know that much about Star Wars, but it would be cool to find out that it was some dude they talked about before or something that like survived somehow or whatever. I don't know. So, what else? I don't know. I thought Princess Leia was cool. Like, that was, like, the most believable, like, person that acted in the movie, I thought. And old Chewie was neat, too. Because, for whatever reason, I don't know why, you could tell it was the same guy. So, when you saw Chewie, it was like, oh, this is old Chewie, because it was the same guy. And it's pretty neat, actually. And, then there was a part where they're running around a spaceship, and then everybody else gets eaten right away or smashed to pieces by those tentacle things. But then, Finn and Rey are having some kind of like Laurel and Hardy run around with, mops trying to, like, why isn't he just dead and eaten already? Like, why is the thing like sparing him from just smacking him off every wall like everybody else got? That part was like, he's dead there. It's like the Indiana Jones where they fly out of the plane in a raft, and like, oh, they just died at the beginning of the movie. And there's like a fantasy of somebody's head smashed on the rocks before their brain dies of that whole whatever. I'm rambling. So anyway, what else about Star Wars? Temper tantrums, and he puts his mask in a pile of ashes. It's ridiculous. All the Martians were neat, and they made little neat towns and stuff with giant rubber monsters in the desert that were really, you could tell they were really there. All that stuff was really neat. I don't know. I see all this stuff when we spend all this money and we watch these movies, and sometimes I just think, like, why? Why should we? And then there's just all this stuff like, it's the future, and there's all these crazy ships, and then, like, they can't find a girl. they'd think they would put like a tracking thing on it. There's goddamn cameras everywhere monitoring everything that are just monitored by like bots or whatever. And they're like, hey, she's leaving. And they would know instantly where anybody was ever. But somehow. And like, again, with the Finn thing, like, why wouldn't he be such a bio-robot, like, programmed that he would ever, like, maybe I believe that he would freak out, but it would require somebody else to, like, push him over the edge. I don't think he would just, like, freak out and say, I'm going to leave and get the pilot guy and leave. I don't know, maybe he would. But I don't know. I'm glad he has a personality and it was likable, but I'm like, I don't believe that a guy that was taken to be, as a kid, to become a Hitler Youth would have, like a spunky personality and you know, be, you know, like I could believe he could be brave and courageous, like to the point of being maniacal because he's a trained to kill. But again, he was a garbage man or whatever. But I mean, who's training these kids to be biorobots? Like real people are training them, or the programs training them, or they just stick them in Matrix things? That's the kind of questions I thought about in the movie. They really went for the Hitler stuff. It was just Star Wars again, where they blow up the Death Star at the end. Nobody cared. It really totally worked, but at the same time, it was just kind of, I don't know. Like, the thing that was cool about it, just to keep talking, if you sync it up with the Dark Side of the Moon, they called it the Dark Side of the Force Awakens. Just Google that. And start the Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, with after the opening scroll ends, and it's neat. It really works, you know. And then there's plenty of times where it doesn't work, but the times where it syncs up as a soundtrack to like sliding down the Sandman, and you're like, oh wow, this is neat. And so that was kind of fun, just a goofy thing, which is just, it doesn't, there's nothing to believe into it. There's nothing metaphysical about it or new agey. It's just like a weird drunk thing to do or whatever. And the special effects were really cool. Han Solo dying on the bridge was like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, we knew that was gonna, like, he's gonna die now. And then he died, and everybody's like, oh, he like fell into literally fell into like outer space furnace or whatever to get melted, and like he's dead, okay? And I don't know, like, it was neat. The part of this movie that was just like a Han Solo adventure, I was like, yeah, like, just do that. Like, why couldn't we, like, fuck Indiana Jones? Just do, they killed Han Solo and then just, like, let him leave Star Wars. He's like, I just still ran out and a wife and a kid. And then it's just him and Chewbacca going on adventures with the new kids. I would watch. The Stormtrooper kid and a girl that's a mechanic. I just do that instead of Indiana Jones. That being said, I could still watch old Indiana Jones. Just don't have him do stuff like jumping off army tanks and rolling and shit. I mean, forget it. The guy's like 70. When he did Indiana Jones, he was like 67 or something like that. The last one. I don't know. But anyway, they killed Han Solo. And now, I think they should make Princess Leia a Jedi by the end. Like, you find out that, like, she's had all this time, and she knew, like, when Han Solo was dead and everything, and she knew when the planets blew up and all that stuff. That's the other thing. They blew up all the planets, and I'm like, why didn't they just fire that thing up again and just blow up the bad guys? Like, why are they waiting? They're like, no, what's scheduled to be later? And they're like, they didn't even mention, like, no, we need to charge up the thing again. Like I said, I saw this 3 times, and I'm like, they're like, why don't they just, like, okay, it worked. We blew up all 5 of those planets. Now let's just blow up the Rebel, whatever it was that they wanted to blow up. Just blow up everything. They built a damn planet to do it. Why don't they just keep blowing stuff up? But I thought, oh, maybe they need time to make it, to, like, charge it up again or something. They're like, no, we need to, like, shut it down. It got too hot. And then we're going to, like, cool it down, and we'll turn it back on again. And that takes a while. And then we're like, then we can blow up the rebellion. It takes, like, 48 hours or something. I don't know, whatever. It's a planet. But anyway, and then, the guy gets his face cut, and there's for me, I never like sword fighting in movies because sword fighting for real is like really quick. You know, like 2 or 3 strikes. That's it. It's done. You know what I mean? Like somebody's chopped up, even with laser swords or whatever. So these movies are always bullshit with that stuff. And then when the guy gets his back sliced, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a robot world future where the guy gets like a robot. He's gonna have like a robot spine or something. I don't know. So I liked all little creatures and little Star Wars crittery things. Oh, Maz Kanata. That's something I didn't like. I don't know why. I don't like Maz Kanata. I just thought it sounded like I hope this doesn't come off as a racist thing. It just sounded like a Oprah book club, like Maya Angelou impression thing, like I am the wise old space mother, or what, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't like it. And then, you know, I just didn't. I was like, I know it's supposed to be Yoda, and then how do we make it different? And we'll like make her orange. We'll take away her ears, and then we'll make Yoda a woman. And it just didn't work. I just like, you know what I mean? So, geez, I don't know. I didn't like Maz Kanata. I was like, not necessary. Have somebody else do that. I don't care. Make it or just make it a person. Make it just like an actual person. Don't make it a weird cartoon, or make it a puppet like Yoda, like the Yoda puppet, like the whatever. And then, what else? Yeah, that was weird. I noticed it too the first time I saw it. I was like, oh my God, like Han Solo's dead, and Chewbacca just walks right by Princess Leia, and she doesn't even know this girl at all. Like, she doesn't even know that girl. And then she's just like, I'm going to comfort, like, we'll find each other, we're the girls. And it's like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. Chewbacca walks right by. I noticed that, and that was weird. There was something else I was going to bitch about too. All the Kylo Ren stuff was neat. How he talks like Darth Vader when he has a mask on, and he takes it off, and he's just like Marilyn Manson. Other Pink Floyd sync-up things that were cool was when they're interrogating the guy, and the music changes and the girl starts singing. That's kind of cool. The words somehow are meaningful to that, but I forget. Yeah. What else? Oh, the girl using the trick to open the door to get the guy to let her go. That was I didn't have a problem with that. I'm like, okay, like you got to keep it moving. That's what I liked about this movie. It kept moving. Like I said, I saw it 3 times. Not because I thought it was so great, but because the first time I saw it, I was like, boy, am I seeing the same thing everybody else sees? Because it seemed like it wasn't. Like I said, I didn't see the love interest thing between Rey and Finn. It just seemed like the BB-88 was just supposed to be a toy, and then they're just redoing Star. I don't know. I guess it is everything everybody else said. I'm just rambling on too long. I know there was one more thing about it that I was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but. Yeah, just knowing how to sword fight, like all those guys never sword fought before, and then they're just using lightsabers and going up against a guy who has like an order of knights that he trained as a young Darth Vader, as a young Sith Lord, Kylo Ren guy, and then these 2 people that don't even know how to sword fight at all are just like Rey and Finn are just like fighting them at all. It's like, give me a break, man. And then everybody gets thrown around in movies. Chewbacca shooting. Everybody waited too long. I get that they were just trying to show everybody for dramatic tension, but I was like, where were all the stormtroopers? They didn't see those guys out in the deck, and then they heard the lightsaber, and like all the stormtroopers like, huh? And then they're screaming. The girls, everybody screams, and then Chewbacca screams, and then the stormtroopers show up after he's shot, and everybody's had a chance to deliver their stuff. I know, it's for kids. There was a lot of holes, but I know there's like a Huffington Post article or something, which I never even read, which I should have, because I never would have probably even done this review. What are they going to do in the next one? I don't care. I know enough about this Star Wars. It's enough up our ass in our life that it'd be neat if they just throw in old shit again. I want to see Princess Leia use like force powers by the end of the movie. Luke Skywalker taking off his mask I don't know what that look was. He gives this look like he's like, I'm here or whatever. It looks like whatever happened to Baby Jane, man. Is like crazy look in his eyes. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, that just didn't work for me. Like, the way he takes his hood off. It's like when the way that Luke Skywalker takes his hood off at the end of the movie is the way that people land in a superhero pose, where they land with one knee down and one knee up and their hand in the ground in front of them and their head down, and they raise their head and they stand up like Arnold Schwarzenegger in a Terminator. Bullshit. Yeah. That's those two things go together. Luke Skywalker's take his mask off and that was really weird. And I'm like, that's the end of the movie. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. But I don't think Mark Hamill's a bad actor or anything like that. I think he's gonna be fine. I hope they let him like really be a guy that's like Yoda, like, and chops up like a whole bunch of guys and stuff like that. I hope they just don't get rid of Princess Leia. Like, oh, I'm hurt and I'm not gonna be in it, and just like get rid of her. Because screw those, like, I know people make comments about her being old or something. I'm like, they're all old. Like, what the hell? She was like the person that seemed like the most believable person. Like, she just carried, like, the weight of, like, everything. Like, everything depends on this fucking old lady. And then her guy left her, and her brother left, and it's like, it's like a real bummer. And then he dies. Then Han Solo dies. Chewie ignores her. Anyway. So that's what I think. I think they didn't do nothing with Poe Dameron. Rey and Finn are cool. I don't know if they're supposed to be in love with each other. I never even noticed that. I just thought they were worried about each other. Or maybe that he liked her a little bit. Maybe I saw that but a third time that he liked her, but she didn't seem to return it or anything, which I don't care. Make them get together. Why not? I think it would be cool if Kylo Ren and Rey were brother and sisters, and then like they had 2 kids and they got rid of Rey or something. I don't know, whatever. Who cares? I'll watch it when it comes out. And then what are we gonna do in the next one? More Jedi guys or something? No, I hope it's like, what is it with Star Wars and racial things? Didn't it seem like there was still something Jar Jar Binks about Maz Kanata? Just because they went the NPR route, isn't it still like a weird stereotype? That's what I got right away. I was like, what? That's what this character is? Everybody's talking about Maz Kanata? I was like, it's like this Oprah's book club bullshit. Super Oprah Sunday or whatever the fuck she does. I hated it. I hated that character. Oh my God. I hope somebody lightsabers her head off. And give Poe Dameron something to do. Han Solo's daddy wanted to be dead. Great. Give Chewie something to do. Don't just like have him be in the background. It'd be cool to give him an adventure. What else? Boba Fett. Yeah, just have him spit out of that thing. I know in the comic books they made him spit out of that pit. Just have him be like an old dude. Like old Boba Fett. That'd be cool. Just like an old man that's still... Like, I mean, Han Solo could be an old man. So the hell can Boba Fett. What else? You can make him just look like a Darth Vader prune, like all soy-barked out and shit. And with a Deadpool face. That was the other thing, too, when they landed on the planet. Finn and Poe. That whole part, he's like, oh, I ejected. I don't know. I was like, that just seemed like bad editing or something. Like, yeah, they just didn't do that right. But whatever, I'm just nitpicking now. Anyway, after saying all that shit and knocking the movie, I don't care about any of it. It was an entertainment. And it just kept moving, and I kept watching the whole thing, even though I was going like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I know it's like it's also like stupid to say, well, this is for kids. Like, well, it doesn't mean we should give kids like garbage, right? But I'm like, I just mean like Star Wars is the acting. The acting felt like old Star Wars because it's always Star Wars has like this weird acting style. Like John Waters has this weird way that everybody talks in John Waters movies. In Star Wars movies, everybody has this weird sort of cardboard style or whatever. Maybe because I think it was supposed to be based on those old serials or whatever, like old radio serials, whatever, something like that. And like old episodic science fiction shows or radio shows or both or whatever. In Star Wars, maybe they talked like that in space. I don't know what the deal is, but they still have that weird like wooden Star Wars style of acting. That's kind of neat. I wonder if that's a thing. Like they teach people how they want stuff delivered or whatever. I don't know. But this one has more life in it. It was a fun Star Wars movie. I liked it. It's just garbage. We shouldn't be talking about it. You shouldn't be listening to it. But it's fun to fuck around. I haven't done one of these in a while. And it got me to do one. And I totally rambled. So I'm just going to be merciful to everybody and end this now. It's also cool to see somebody just walking around in a stormtrooper suit. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. When you take the shoulder pads off and stuff, it's just like a suit. Like a work suit. That's a weird thing to say, but that was neat. I don't know. There's all these neat details too, like when the kid was on the AT-AT, and it's like, oh man, she lives in the AT-AT and she's eating like weird rations and all this garbage. I don't know. It was space orphans, the whole Horatio Alger. I'm gonna be a self-made woman and all whatever, but it was neat. I like the bad guys. I don't like the cartoon bad guy. I mean, I don't like what he looks like. Just make it a guy with a mask on or a rubber face. But instead, it's a cartoon, Lord Sidious, or whatever that guy's name was with the split head that's a giant hologram. It's just the cartoon things. Ugh. Too much cartoon is too much cartoon. Anyway, I think it was good. It's garbage. It was made to be liked. I think it was totally successful. And the proof that it's successful is that it works, even though there's so much bullshit that I complained about. The next one's going to be neat. I want to see it. So that's episode.